Hey guys, welcome back to Miss Morrison Reads. So today we are going to read chapter 3 of Patina. Let's rock and roll. And for anyone wondering, we are beginning on page 25. To do. Introduce myself, which I should have done a while ago. I should probably introduce myself. My name is Patina Jones, and I ain't no junk. I also ain't no hair flipper. And most of the girls at Chester Academy are hair flippers, who be looking at me like my mom's some kind of junk maker. But ain't none of them got the guts to come out of their mouths with no craziness. They just turn and flip their dingy ponytails toward me like I care. I guess it's no secret that it's never easy being the new girl. And I get to be the new girl in 2 different places, on the Defenders team and at Chester. Lucky me. But at least the Defenders I can deal with, because I know for a fact I can run. I've been running track for 3 years now, thanks to Uncle Tony. Well, not just him. It really has more to do with my mom, dad, Uncle Tony, and Maddie. My whole family. But let's just say Uncle Tony okey-doked the idea into my brain. See, it was my dad's birthday, and also a few months before my mother's legs were taken, and we were celebrating with cupcakes. Real cupcakes, not pretend ones, that my mother had baked in honor of him. Yellow cake, strawberry icing, Dad's recipe. It had become a tradition that I loved, even though it always made me sad. It was really just a chance for everybody to sit around and for the old heads to crack jokes and tell me and Maddie stories about him. Maddie never knew him, and even though I did, and I remember him, I'll never, ever forget him. There were a lot of things I just didn't know, like how he used to make beats and sell instrumental tapes to aspiring rappers and singers in the neighborhood, and how he used the money he made from that to put himself through culinary school to become a pastry chef, and how he loved letting me lick the batter off the spoon before baking a cake, but not nearly as much as he loved seeing me chomp down on the finished product. But apparently, according to Uncle Tony, none of these things were as sweet to him as seeing me run. Your daddy called me when you took your first step, Uncle Tony, peeling the paper from his cupcake, explained in the middle of an I remember when session. I answered the phone and Ronnie just started yelling, "She did it, Toon! My baby did it!" Toon was what Dad called Uncle Tony, a nickname from when they were kids, back when Uncle Tony was obsessed with, you guessed it, cartoons. He sure did. He was so proud of his pancake walking, Ma confirmed, smirking like this memory didn't bother her, even though the shine in her eyes said different. Maddie, who was too young to really care about any of this, listened in, cupcake icing smeared all over her chin. Didn't really make sense for me to wipe her mouth until she was done making a mess. The things you learn. But when you started running, Uncle Tony shook his head. That's when he really lost it. He'd send me videos every other day of you dashing back and forth across the room, little fat legs just moving. But you'd have thought you'd grown wings and started flying or something the way Ronnie was acting. Uncle Tony licked pink frosting off the cupcake and went on. I don't know what it was about seeing you move like that, but your daddy loved it. You were definitely his pancake, but you were also his little sprinter. Before then, I never even thought about running. It didn't even cross my mind, even though I used to smoke all the boys in gym class at school, including Lou, who would get all in his feelings and be almost about to cry. Lou would be so salty, fronting like he wasn't impressed, which didn't matter because running ain't mean nothing to me anyway, not like, for real. But after hearing Uncle Tony talk about my dad like that, something clicked. And one night, a few months later, after Ma's legs were gone, after a crazy moment with Maddie, and I do mean crazy, that I'll also get to later on, I asked Momly and Uncle Tony to sign me up on a team. And they jumped to it because to them, it was also a good way for me to, I guess, deal with all the changes I was going through, balance out all the unregal, wild stuff, she was going to say unregular. All of the wild stuff. So proving myself on this new track team, the Defenders, was still just running, even if it was elite. I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's still listen to your coaches at practice and wait to hear the gun at the meets. Then run. Nothing to it. But proving myself at Chester Academy, also elite. was trickier, way trickier, because there were no practices, no coaches, and no starter pistols telling me when to leave everybody in the dust. Matter of fact, ain't even no dust at Chester, and running ain't nothing these girls are concerned with at all, unless it was running their mouths. Chester Academy is one of those schools that go from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, but the different levels are broken into 3 wings of the building. The South Wing, which was where the high school was, the East Wing, which was 6th, 7th, and 8th, and the North Wing, which was elementary, Maddie's domain. Yep, she's at Chester too, and she loves it. But that's because this is the only school she's ever been at. She's never been in a school where you don't have to wear pleated paper bags. She never went to a school with boys, and yes, boys make school really, really annoying sometimes. But they also can make it pretty fun, or at least funny. Maddie never went to a school with mostly black kids either. She's only known life as a raisin in milk, as my ma puts it, where lunch is sauteed prawn, which ain't nothing but a fancy way to say cooked shrimp, and this stuff called couscous, which is basically just grits without the glob. Me, I'm a proud product of the Barnaby Terrace school system, where we ate nasty rectangle pizza, I don't miss that, and drank chocolate milk for lunch, where we played pranks on people and traded candy while talking trash after school, where we had fun. Chester? Well, I ain't had 1 second of fun at Chester yet. Matter of fact, when I walk down that busy hall in the morning, I keep my eyes down, focused on the floor, because I ain't got time to get stunting on by a whole bunch of rich girls whose daddies own stuff. Not like cars and clothes, though they got those too, but stuff like boats. Ain't even no water nowhere near here, but these fools got boats. And they don't just own their houses. They own buildings and businesses. Not like a corner store or a weekend dinner plate situation or nothing like that. I'm talking business. My dad, he wanted to start his own business. Another one of those birthday stories, a cupcake shop. And maybe if he didn't never wake up, he would have done it. But I bet he wouldn't have bought no boat. But that's who these girls' daddies were, what they did. And if your daddy got himself a boat and a building, what does he get you? Probably some kind of crazy pet like a horse. Can you even teach a horse how to guard your house? The other thing about these girls is that it seems like they ain't never been told they can't do nothing. Never. I mean, they be wearing full faces of makeup and everything. Do you know what my mother would do if she saw me with my whole face made up for school like I was about to go on some kind of fashion photo shoot or something? She'd probably try to run over me with that wheelchair. But here, at Chester, as long as your face is selfie ready 100% of the time, you got a chance. A chance at what? Well, I don't really know. All I know is I ain't got one. What I got is track. I got Ghost, Sunny, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Lou. That's what I got, who I got. So I don't really care about the selfie readies. Well, that's not really true. I care a little bit. So, what y'all do this weekend? Asked Taylor Stein, Taylor Dorsey, and Becca Broward. It was Monday in history class, which meant it was also the second day of the worst group project of all time in the history of life. The 4 of us had been lumped together last Friday to start on this assignment about an important woman from the past. And in 2 weeks, we would have to do a presentation on her. On Friday, all we did was nail down who we were going to focus on. My first choice was my hero, Flo Jo, Florence Joyner. But none of the girls in my group even knew who she was. Seriously? How do you not know one of the flyest runners to ever take a lap? There was...
The following students are now needed in the cafeteria.
I had to pause for the intercom. Okay. Okay. So they didn't know one of the flyest runners to ever take a lap. There was a woman named Madeline Manning who was probably the best American 800-meter runner, and that's my race. But still, FloJo was it. Plus those nails. She looked like she raced during the day and was in a singing group at night. So anyway, then I tossed out my second choice, which was Harriet Tubman, who to me was also a pretty good suggestion. Running from slavery and then coming back all those times to free everybody else, like a relay through the Underground Railroad. And Uncle Tony said she might be the new face of the $20 bill. That's major. But the girls weren't feeling that either. And these are the moments I miss not going to school with Cotton, because she would have been like, yo, you know how crazy it would be to see my face on money? Like $100 bill? It'd be framed in every corner store in the hood. Your girl looking like money on money. But that's not how the conversation went in my history group. Instead, it was all, Harriet Tubman's just too serious. So when I asked who they were thinking about, Becca, who was one of these girls who swore she was going to be a star when she grew up, said we should do the project on this lady named Sally Ride. First woman in space, she said, strangely pointing up at the ceiling. Okay, I can't front. Not a bad suggestion. But then Taylor said for the second time, all these choices were too serious, as if the topic wasn't a serious topic. I mean, it's hard to be seen as important if you ain't never been through nothing serious. But Taylor, who goes by TT, one of the few nicknames, decided to add her 2 cents. By the way, I'd want my face on the penny because pennies be everywhere and they get my skin tone right. And muddy up our brainstorming session with the brilliant suggestion of Taylor Swift. Becca didn't say nothing, and I wanted to shoot it down because we already had a Taylor and a Taylor in the group and just couldn't take another one. But thankfully, Taylor hit TT with a swift no. So since serious was all that I kept hearing on Friday, I decided to keep Monday light by trying out some of that Momly Mall special, some good old small talk. And no, I don't know why I care, why these girls in my class matter to me, except for the fact I'm just trying to make the best of the situation. I figured weekends had to be a common bond. I mean, it don't matter who you are. Saturday is Saturday. This weekend? Well, TT started. She used the long, skinny part of a pin cap to scrape grime from under her nails. Saturday, I hit the mall. Me too, Taylor followed. I know you did because you were with me, TT squealed to Taylor, clenching her fingers into a bare paw to check her nails. Oh, I guess I should make clear that TT and Taylor are best friends, besties. Another word I don't like. It's just stupid. Bestie and best friend take the exact same amount of time to say. It ain't like an abbreviation. That's like me calling my teammates my teamies. Anyway, not only are Taylor and TT best friends, but they're also cousins, cuzzies, and pretend to be sisters, sissies. They're like attached at the ponytail and call themselves TNT, which is funny because most of the time, I wish they'd explode. Here's my issues. Not with the bestie cousin sisters, but with group projects. Number 1, one of the group members always has to volunteer their house for everyone to go over to and work on the presentation, which was never a really good thing because 2, ain't nobody coming to my house and I don't want to go to theirs. And 2B, only one person in the group actually does any work, which brings me to 3. That person is me. So as the Taylor started going on about whether or not they should both take a t-shirt, the same exact t-shirt back to exchange it for a smaller size, and Becca was off in space. It was me who reached into my backpack and pulled out printouts of images of this Mexican painter lady, Frida Kahlo. I'd swiped them from the internet over the weekend. Come in.